Have you ever wanted to make a game, but just felt too overwhelmed to try? Well, same, but here we are. So, over the last little while, I've been messing around with the Godot engine, making games that are a little bit shit. To help keep me motivated, I've decided to set myself a little challenge. I'm gonna take a random prompt and try to make a finished game out of it. Just to, make sure we're all on the same page. This is not going to be a tutorial. This is not gonna be AAA. This is just me trying to make a little shit game. With that out of the way, let's see what we're making. All right, live wheel reaction. Let's see what we get. I don't know why I made this been so long. The only person it's stressing out is me. Okay. Text adventure mini mystery. Okay. Lovely, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to do right now. Perfect, amazing. Oh God. Now that we have our idea, theme, thing, I guess, quest. Let's call it a quest. Now that we have our quest, now the fun part begins. I have no ideas. So, text adventure. The first one I think about is that text adventure from like the end of Saints Row 3. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There's a text adventure in that game, and that's the only one I can think of. So first off, mini mystery. The first thing I think of is like a haunted house. I don't know why, but I just got the idea of like a sewer, like a little rat. Could be a rat guy. What's the mystery? I don't know. I just work here. I don't know. What could the mystery be like? I don't know. That's a problem for later. Look, we're doing it. We have ideas all of a sudden. This is good. This is progress. I kind of like garden. Yeah, let's make it green. And I also like haunted house. We'll make it purple. Those are the ones I immediately like off the bat. I think maybe I like garden more. Why are the plants dying? The sun is going out. But what happens if you solve it? What happens if you don't? I mean, I feel like if you solve it and you figure out the sun's going out, then like what are you gonna do about it? Are you going to intervene somehow? I don't think so. Haunted house has like, so like, why haunted? You could try to escape the haunted house. That could work better. I then spent the next 40 odd minutes trying to carve out a usable idea, and here's what I ended up with. So yeah, you wake up, boom, dark room. You check the bedside table or / look around. So if you like look around the room, you find, a candle, an unlit candle. You notice there's like a bedside table with a candle, and then unlit. Look for matches or something to light it with. Lit candle, and then you can try the door, check the window, check under the bed, check the closet, check the drawers, check under the rug, and then all this stuff happens. Perfect. Alrighty, I think that's the idea we'll go with. I think this is it. Now we have to actually make the thing. Okay. Well, here we go, I suppose. So this project took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. My plan was to have a few cute little updates and whatnot, but to help put it into perspective, I was aiming for about a week, maybe 2. It took twice that, over a month. So, new plan. I'm going to rip through this about 20 hours of footage and do my best to keep you in the loop. So please bear with me. Okay, so every scene in this game is built out of buttons. A bunch of buttons. Mostly, they just change the scene or the text, but with just these 2 lines of code, you could make 70% of the game, maybe more. They're not super interesting, but it is the only form of interaction the player has, so it is important to mention. Something that ended up being super useful was having a global or auto-load script. A global script can be used to store data between scenes. I was using it to store a ton of true or false statements. This script let me keep track of if the player had certain items or if they had been to certain scenes, so that the game could react. My inventory system worked, but oh my god, was it ever a pain in the ass to keep track of. All my main scripts are drowning in if statements. If this, then that, ad nauseum. It became a nightmare to add new checks because I kept forgetting what was where. This did not get fixed. And finally, the last important part of the code, the mannequin. It was a nightmare getting him to work properly. I spent a combined 10 hours just trying to get it right. And it's still far from perfect. But it works. Barely. In other news, I can now spell mannequin right almost every time. And finally, here is the actual game. So I'm just gonna do a little playthrough, I guess. Enter. You wake in a dark room. The air is still and heavy and cold. You can't remember how you got here, or even where here is. Something about the silence feels wrong, like the room itself is holding its breath. It's really hard for me not to super blitz through this. You pick up the matches, look around, you peer through the darkness, reach out, pick up the candle, light the candle. Your soft scratch, the match ignites. The candle's flame hisses to life, pushing back the darkness, if only a little. Explore the room. Yes, okay. So I'm gonna grab the baseball bat, go to the window, smash, jump. You step under the windowsill and take one last breath and jump. There's no impact, no ground, only white, a weightless fall into silence. At least you've escaped the room, whatever that means. And bam, that's the game. That is one of the endings. There's about 5 different endings if you want to go see if you can find the others on your own. But yeah, that's the game. All right, so I'm just going to give a quick overview over the project and kind of explain what I did and how I kind of put it together. So every scene is made up of a text block and some buttons. Whoops. So when you press look around, it changes the text to look around text, which is set up here. And then it shows the button to open the drawer because you've like discovered it. And then it sets that you've looked around to true. And then it's got some ifs about if you have the candle, and then it changes like what the text says. So if you click look around and then you click look around again, it'll say different things depending on what you have. Basically, if you grab the candle, you're not going to see the candle in your hand and on the table still. So honestly, like this is basically it. Like every scene kind of looks the same. There's this which just resets everything. And then yeah, just a bunch of scenes and then a win scene with a restart button. This is a script that I definitely didn't need, but I used everywhere. It's just a set text. And every single button has a set text. And I'm still torn if I think that this was really useful or if it was absolutely redundant. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me what they think. But, you know, I did what I did. I did what I did. Now, the prompt was, if you remember ages ago, it feels like, it was text adventure mini mystery. And honestly, I think I did a pretty good job. Not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I think it's pretty good. It's kind of got some sort of intrigue. It's a little weird. The mystery isn't exactly like super evident, but it's definitely got a spooky vibe, and it's definitely a text adventure. So I'll consider this a success, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. I definitely think my organization could have been better. I definitely think there's a lot I could have cleaned up, but this was, like I said before, a project that has gone a little bit over the timeline, so I am ready to do something else now. Overall, I'm really happy with how this went, and I'm excited for my next project, whatever that may be. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.